Let me get everything set up and we're ready to go. All right, I think we are officially live now. It is snowing in New York. It's a lot colder and it's snowing a lot more than I expected. So if anyone is also caught in this northeastern storm, it is quite the experience. But welcome. Hey, Allison. Welcome to our weekly Scott Sheep Flights Facebook Live. Thank you all for joining us today. Today's a very special one because I am joined with 3 of our amazing flight experts here to talk about our 20 best deals of 2020 guide that we put out last week. We are going to talk 2021, outlooks, trends, what we're excited about, and finally, what is a flight expert? What do they do? Tips and tricks, which are always welcome. So that's going to be coming in just a few minutes. A few housework. I don't know the term. A few tasks that I need to do before we begin here. We have gift cards, and we are giving away some gift cards today on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So I am going to link the links in the comments so you guys can easily go and check them out. So we do have gift cards. We're giving them away. Also, we are running a buy one, get one free gift card promotion going on now. I will also link that in the chat as well. So that's what we're doing today. That's our agenda. I have with me 3 amazing flight experts that are the reason why you guys get deals, are why Scott Sheep Flights is a thing. So I'm going to bring them in here and let them introduce themselves. We have Daniel, who some of you may recognize, Darci, and Willis. Can you guys just introduce yourselves, where you're from, what you do, favorite airline? Daniel, I want to start with you.
Well, you've all seen me before for the most part. So favorite airline is obviously Singapore Airlines. Used to live there, love it. Great for cruising around Southeast Asia in style. You can make those free drinks add up. Let's just say that. And yeah, I do tend to focus primarily on a lot of our Asia Pacific stuff. That's definitely my area of interest. And I love getting deals out to all of you. So that's all you need to know.
All right, well, I'll hop in here. My name is Darci. I fly out of SeaTac. Been with Scott's for about 2.5 years, and I have a hard time choosing between Delta and Hawaiian as my favorite airline.
And my name is Willis. I live in Maryland, Julian's old stomping grounds. I fly out of either BWI or IAD. I don't particularly like either one, but that's what I do. I'm from New York originally, so I was spoiled with options before. So yeah, I don't know what I do. I like Alitalia because when I fly Alitalia, it means I'm going to Italy, and that's a great thing. It's not a great airline. It's kind of a mediocre airline. I've flown much better airlines, but Alitalia makes me happy, gives me the warm and fuzzies. I eat Italian food, airline style, and I watch Italian movies, and it makes me very happy.
I can't believe you didn't say Emirates to Milan. I thought that would be your answer.
I flew Emirates
twice,
and I absolutely loved it. It's, undisputably much better than Alitalia. You get the nice little warm towels. It's a beautiful experience, but where am I going? I'm going to Dubai. I don't want to go to Dubai. So,
all right. So yeah, we're here. We're talking about the 20 best deals of 2020. It's a guide that we just put out. I will also put that in the link. I've bombarded the chat with a few links now. Unfortunately, I'm using my personal account because I wasn't able to figure out how to post it from the Scott Sheep Flights account. But there you will find the Twitter links, the Instagram links, and the Facebook links to the post where you can win gift cards because, again, we are doing gift cards. And I just posted the link to our guide, the 20 best deals of 2020. I'm now realizing I forgot to introduce myself. For anyone who's wondering, I'm Julian. I also work here at Scott Sheep Flights. Been here for a bit, and I don't know what my favorite airline is. Not United. Let's leave it at that. But yeah, let's hop right into it. So the 20 best deals of 2020 is a guide, as it sounds, that we just put out. If you click on the link, you'll see we have Denver to Thailand for 448. Miami to Vail for 137 during Christmas time and New Year's. Bali for 356 to Portland, and that's not even touching the top 10. So definitely check it out. Check the guide out and see what we have in store. But let's hop right into it. Darci, do you want to kick us off? What was your favorite deal in our 20 best deals of 2020?
All right, so this is a little selfish, but my favorite one is the very first deal that I booked to get out there, back out in the world. Hopefully in June, I will be going to the Azores and spending some time in Portugal as well. This was a lie flat business class deal on tap, actually sent by Daniel, wherever you are, never done the lie flat experience, which is probably why I can't even say it. Those words don't come naturally out of my mouth. I am an economy flyer. So I'm repositioning to Boston from Seattle to do that. What I'm particularly excited about is we just sent some sweet fares from Seattle to Boston on JetBlue Mint, which is also a lie flat. So I'm going to be able to combine both of those, go from Seattle to Portugal and the Azores for $1,200 round trip, lie flat the whole way. A little bit of repositioning magic. Hopefully June 2021 that works out. Really excited about it. And thank you, Daniel.
Daniel, yeah, let's pass it on to you. What was your favorite deal on our 20 best deals of 2020?
So I'm a big fan of the Latin American Mistake Fair that went out just a couple of weeks ago. So the real highlight there was $63 to Santiago, Chile, out of Atlanta. So that was nonstop on Delta. Really great fare. Also 300s premium economy as well on that same route. I ended up booking to Brazil actually on the same deal. So not in 2 digits. It was up in 3, but still quite reasonable. All the way through next fall, which is really the priority for me. So you could fly those through September and I believe even October next year, which was pretty cool. So, I think that's something that's really been cool about this year in general, actually, is just how much flights or prices to Latin America and South America have dropped so much. I think that's like, if you were going to say which region of the world is like a big winner in terms of better pricing this year, wow, it's got to be Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay. So, it's a great time to book ahead for, late 2021 if you want to go.
All right, round us out here, Willis. What are your thoughts?
So I'm going to finish the trifecta of selfishness and choose one that I booked as well. So we sent this great deal on Air Canada to Japan. The lowest price was $173 out of Pittsburgh, which was just bonkers. I got it for $315 out of Philadelphia. It's a 2-hour drive for me. It's worth it for $315 to go round trip to Japan. We're not 100% sure if we're going because we booked for late April. We'll see what happens with Japan. But worst case scenario, I have Air Canada flight credit and I can go, eat poutine in Montreal. No one's going to die. It's going to be fine if I do that. The other cool thing about that was I know a lot of you probably saw, maybe booked the big Australia Mistake Fair that came a few weeks before that, and Air Canada reneged on that, made everybody really mad. And so I almost felt as though for a few weeks after that, they were kind of making it up to us by making these Japan fares cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And they've honored the ticket, so it's been pretty great. So I'm excited for that. I hope I get to go to Japan, and if not, I'll be eating poutine in the snow.
Yeah, Willis, you kind of stole my answer there, but not fully. It's hard not to say for me the Japan fairs. I mean, we saw so many Japan fairs out of a good amount of cities for 300s round trip, 400s round trip, much less. We saw 200s round trip. There was one for $173 round trip to Japan. That sentence just doesn't seem real. And so that has to be up there for me. But if I had to pick one, I would probably say the Miami to Vail for $137 during Christmas time and New Year's Eve. I don't live in Miami, but just this deal in general, I love Vail. I think Vail is amazing. I think the price, I think during Christmas time and New Year's Eve is pretty rare in general. So that has to be my pick. Also Atlanta, the Atlanta Mistake Fair, $63 round trip. That Mistake Fair, that one's also really hard to beat. Speaking of, were there any that you wish you could have booked if it wasn't what you just said, if it wasn't one of your favorite fairs? anyone can hop in here.
Well, I'll hop in. The $63 to Chile, like you can go to Chile for $63. And what was I doing? I think I was on paternity leave, and so that came through, and I didn't pay attention, and I didn't get it, and that's what I get. Like, this is my full-time job. Pay attention, man. Book that fare.
I think I would go with Azores for same as Darci, actually, because for me, like I'm not on the coast, so like going out to Boston, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do it. I kind of missed the boat on that, but there'll be time.
Yeah. Any for you, Darci, or you're happy? You're happy where you're at.
Yeah, as the optimist here, I saw what I liked and I booked them, so I didn't hesitate. So.
There you go. That's really all you could ask for at this point. And final question about the. I see a comment from our very. I'll show it for a second because I don't want to block Darci and Willis too much. Andrew Hickey, our own honestly amazing Andrew Hickey. That damn Australian mistake fare that wasn't honored earlier this year still haunts me. I think it still haunts all of us, Andrew. So fully agree with that. And I'm sure many other people watching now also agree with you. Were you surprised, or were any of you surprised that a deal didn't make the 20 best deals of 2020 list? And if not, are there any that you would have liked, maybe not surprised, but would have liked to see on that list?
I'll plug one for Indianapolis here, which came out earlier in the summer, I think in June or July. Because flying down from Indy to places like Grenada, St. Lucia, like these kind of smaller Caribbean islands that usually connect down in Miami or Philadelphia or something like that, those were down to $200 from here in the Midwest. Which if you're in New York, that $200 you can expect that. But in America's heartland, you just don't see Caribbean for 200 round trip. So I think for me, that was a big one. That was very, very regional, so coming out of here, that's great.
Yeah, I'll actually hop in there. Same sentiment. SeaTac can be really hard for deals to the Caribbean and for Latin America. And so we've had some phenomenal fares to places like Santiago, Quito, just kind of across the board. I think even earlier this year, we saw a deal to St. Lucia, which is absolutely unheard of. So Seattle can be tricky, but it was really great to see some of them. Sad they didn't quite make the list, but gotta plug them anyways.
I've got a couple, I think, because we're always kind of focusing really hard on these big international fairs that are really exciting and these giant price drops. But I mean, when we first premiered domestic on a wide scale, we did this gigantic national parks deal. We put all hands on deck and we searched out every great fair to every national park we could think of in the country. Fairs were really low at the time. We were really lucky. The timing really worked well for us. And we gave our members amazing options to pretty much hit anywhere in the country. And if we saw what happened over the summer, that's where people went. That's like what people booked, what people did. So I feel like that's, although maybe the discount isn't as steep as we might otherwise have thought, flying into these small airports like Flagstaff to go to the Grand Canyon, it's not easy generally. And getting these fares for $200, it's a great deal. And people took advantage and had a good time outside.
Yeah. For anyone just joining in, we are talking about, I'll put it in the comments again, we are talking about our 20 best deals of 2020 guide that we released earlier this week. Last week's pretty recent. And quick reminder for anyone just joining, thanks for joining the weekly Scott Sheep Flights Facebook Live. We are running a gift card giveaways because yes, we've launched gift cards. So head on over to our Twitter page, Instagram page, or Facebook page to get more information about that. We are also doing a buy one, get one promotion for gift cards. So definitely check that out as well. To answer that last question myself, mine isn't a specific deal. It would probably be any of the road trip type deals that we sent out. I think those are very innovative. I thought those were some of the most creative deals we've sent out this year and we've created. And that really just excites me because I mean, that's one way that we're packaging our deals, and going forward, it opens so many different ways of how we can, are we going to send a national parks deal? Excuse me. Are we going to send a road trip deal? There's so many different ways to send out deals now, and I'm excited to see where we go with that in 2021. And it's thanks to the flight expert teams, including the three right here. All right. That was a lot. Let's move on to a topic that a lot of people have questions about or have been asking about for, probably the last year, which is 2021 and our outlooks. How's that looking? So to start off, we've asked this question before. Daniel, you want to kick us off? What is the first place you are going to travel to in 2021?
Well, so I booked that Virgin Islands Mistake Fare down to St. Thomas. So the way I actually did that was an open jaw, or more of like a 2-in-1. So I actually booked it from Miami down to St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, and back with a little tag flight on up to Indianapolis, where I'm coming out of. So I'm excited about that because I've never been. It seems like a cool place. And then taking it slow. I don't really have any big international trips planned in the spring or summer. We'll see how things go. I might. I've got that Brazil trip for September. So leading up to that, and then the summer we'll see. I'm optimistic there will be some pretty cool last minute stuff because I think, even if we say there's an optimistic delivery of vaccines through say April and May, people are going to be a little bit slow in catching up with their bookings for peak season around July, August. So I think there'll be some neat stuff to scoop up.
All right, Willis, how about you?
First of all, I can't wait to scoop up some neat stuff too. I just love just like keeping that in my mind.
The scooping, yeah,
an amazing thing to do. So I'm booked to go to Japan. I'm not optimistic about it, so I'm not going to say the next place I'm going is Japan. Theoretically, maybe the end of April. If that's not going to happen, we're probably going to try to tag on either a Mexico trip or a Canada trip, like I said, Montreal before, or we'll go down and, I know we're looking at PVR, Puerto Vallarta before, because the prices are pretty good on Southwest out of Baltimore. We're excited about that. But undoubtedly, we're going back to Italy. We're going back to Italy in August. The ticket's booked. I'm going. The family's waiting. We're going. That's all there is to it. And
there you go.
It'll have been 2 years, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah. Darci.
So as I mentioned, I have that Azores trip booked in June. If that doesn't work out, I've already snagged a delightful little, joyful thing to look forward to, which is Athens and Croatia, possibly some Slovenia thrown in there. So I'm really hoping that one works out. That is in late August as well.
Nice. So what I'm hearing from that, Darci, is as flight experts, sending out the deals, you guys also book the deals that you're finding. Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, going off that, have what is the most memorable deal that you guys have found and sent out and booked? I'm actually going to start that one off. It's not like this was a planned transition. I found a DC to Sweden, Stockholm mistake fare for $153 round trip. This was like 2.5 years ago. Found that one, sent it out, and booked it. That's my claim to fame. Willis, you look like you're ready to talk.
My dog barking. There she is. So I booked a couple things. When I first joined the U.S. flight team, so I was on a different team before. Mm-hmm. Very quickly after, I had to change my plans around about what I was doing, and I had been looking up stuff and looking into deals, and the deals were very different from the U.S. than they were from Europe back in the day. I found a great deal to Peru, and it was the prices weren't phenomenal. It was low 400s from DC, but it was nice routing. It was clean. And so I went to Peru for 5 weeks and took my dog, that dog who you all heard, and we had a great time. That was awesome. Also, more recently, prices to Europe have been a little bit higher, and I mentioned going back to Italy in the fall. I booked our last, whatever it was, low 500s out of DC. The fun part about that, though, was I got the nonstop flights from Dulles and Alitalia, and when I called up, I had to book it with a flight credit from Delta. When I called Delta and told them what I was looking at, what the price was, the agent on the phone was shocked at how low the price was, which that just made me very happy. And I said, "This is my job, lady. Just give me the ticket and get me out of here." Yeah.
Anyone else?
The one for me, so I used to work with our Asia Focus team for a long time, and it was New Year's Eve 2018. So everyone was celebrating, everyone else was offline. I was here in the US. I was mainly working from Singapore though at that time. And there was a big mistake fare. It was Cathay Pacific business and first class out of Vietnam to the US. The cheapest ticket was about $600. And something I've mentioned, my in-laws, my family are in Vietnam, my wife's family. So we were able to book out the first class cabin on a big Cathay Pacific jet with all of my in-laws, bring them over to the U.S. for the first time for about $600 a head, which was just crazy. Like they were nonplussed about it. They were not as impressed as I think they should have been for their first long-haul international flight. But that helped expedite my my entry into the family. So there was a very personal connection there.
There you go. All right, Darci.
I think my answer is, and actually this is going to sound terrible, but I after 2.5 years, I can't really remember what deals I found and I sent anymore. But I will say that mistake fare to Argentina, I think it was around $200. Wasn't, it was on my list, wasn't really at the top of my list, but for that price, it was definitely worth going. We went for about 2 weeks, and honestly, Argentina is incredible. If you haven't considered checking out, definitely look into it. But the one thing that I want everyone here to leave with is look into Iguazu Falls. It is incredible. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. And that was really wonderful to go explore. So that memory has kept me happy in 2020 is that Buenos Aires Mistake Fair and Iguazu Falls.
If you ever see an Iguazu Falls deal in your inbox, it's 100% guaranteed that Darci wrote it and sent it and researched it, because he's always on the lookout for them.
It is my mission to get people to go there. It's so cool. There's a reason why I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt said, move over Niagara or pour Niagara or something like that, because Niagara Falls has nothing on with Iguazu Falls. It's incredible. So check it out.
Hot take. I would like to point out the first part of Darci's answer was the correct answer. Is I found and sent so many deals that I just can't remember because there are so many good ones. That's what it is. I would like to point out for everyone watching, if you get our deals, you have definitely gotten a deal from each of the three amazing flight experts here with us. And maybe me, if you've been subscribed here for a bit. But let's actually answer a quick question from the audience. Allison asks, "Hey Allison, I'm not a basic economy person. I think there's a lot of people who would agree that they are also not basic economy people. I need the advanced seat selection and, more importantly, the baggage allowance on European flights. Other than Air Tahiti and the Middle Eastern carriers, do you know of any other airlines that doesn't charge extra for baggage on flights from the U.S. to Europe? An extra $130 on the ticket can turn a decently priced ticket into an expensive ticket fast." That is the truth. So yeah, that's the question. Any other airlines that doesn't charge extra for baggage on flights from the U.S. to Europe? Who's got an answer for me?
Off the top of my head, I guess she said Middle Eastern carriers, but Turkish is technically a European carrier, and Turkish is the most reliable for hitting a lot of European destinations. They also offer pretty good stopover packages in Istanbul. If you want to see Istanbul, it's supposed to be a great city. I know one of our former colleagues loves Istanbul and always there all the time. And they serve a lot of destinations. Like, for example, it can be really hard to get directly to Venice. Usually you have to fly to Rome or to Milan, but Turkish goes to Venice. Short layover in Istanbul, you can get to Venice. It's kind of a nice situation, and bags are included. So sometimes we send those deals out and you'll see the price is a little bit higher than you're used to seeing. Oftentimes, open those up, because oftentimes you'll notice that those are Turkish deals, and we're giving you a little treat in your inbox.
The other one I'm a big fan of, this is still technically Middle Eastern, but there are these Fifth Freedom flights where Emirates flies directly from New York to Milan and Athens. So you don't have to go out of your way to connect in Dubai. They do go directly to Europe. So those are always a good option as well. I can't think of any of the big American carriers or big European carriers like Air France or whatever. I don't think any of them do in general by default sell a full economy ticket, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, my only thought was, I think this is no longer, but Lot was coming in solid there for a while, offering bags. I believe that is no more. Another one that we see sometimes is Aer Lingus. Sometimes we'll have baggage inclusive fares. Obviously, that routes through Dublin.
Do you remember about Air Serbia? Do they have basic?
I think it's been so long since I've sent an Air Serbia deal, I can't really remember off the top of my head, so I'll have to look into that. We could, Daniel's favorite airline, right? We have those Singapore Air flies to Manchester, right?
That's right. Manchester and Frankfurt, actually. I've taken the Houston to Manchester flight, which is a lot of fun. Really cheap to get premium economy upgrades on that leg, in fact, because there's not many people flying it. So Air Serbia does include free bags, but not early seat selection on their nonstop flights to Belgrade out of New York. So that's a very boutique option. They only go this one route, but it's often really cheap. It's like almost always available. So I think it's pretty cool.
Also, the Singapore ones were pretty good last week too. I was just looking at them from my family, and it was, I think, to Frankfurt it was like $592 out of New York, and nonstop to Frankfurt from New York on Singapore Airlines. Like, snatch that up, go for it.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. As you can tell, our flight experts know what they're talking about. So any other questions that you may have for them, please drop them in the comments. We'll try to get to as many as possible. I love this hive mind. Thanks. Of course, Allison. Nathan actually asks another quick question. We'll do one more and then get back to our 2021 talk. He says, what is the best U.S. airport for cheap flights to fly out of Cyprus? Cyprus. Ooh. Cyprus, yeah.
I am ready for this question because there is no place on this planet I want to go to more than Cyprus, really? Because I believe it is the birthplace of halloumi cheese, which says all you need to know about me and my motivations in life. We don't see a ton of deals to Cyprus, but your best bet, Nathan, would be out of New York. Sometimes Qatar runs incredible fares to Cyprus. So keep an eye out for that. Obviously, Qatar is continuously rated one of the best airlines in the world. Maybe you can do a nice little stopover and explore Doha. It kind of turn into a 2-in-1. Daniel, any thoughts?
I have two ideas. So one weird one is Turkey or Turkish, of course, flies to northern Cyprus. Really easy to get some deals there sometimes, but it's a little weird. It depends on where you're actually trying to get on the island if you want to cross from northern Cyprus to the rest of the island. The other idea that I would have is trying to get one of these really cheap Qatar Airways fares to Greece, because we've been seeing that a lot lately. So I would fly in the cheapest fare you could get to Athens, spend a couple happy days in Greece, and then it's really, really quick and easy to shuttle over on just a little local Ryanair flight or something like that. $20 probably.
All right, Willis, you have anything?
No, I mean, I think that's the way to go. I think fly out of New York is the best way to get to Europe. They're really cheap, and then I know that Cyprus is served by Wizz Air. Wizz Air is really bottom of the barrel sketchy, but listen, you can get point A to point B really cheap.
I love Wizz Air.
I pulled off the handle on the overhead carrier on one of my flights there because the plane was definitely older than I was, but it was fine. We all survived and we got there. We went to Macedonia, so it was kind of the same sort of situation, less glamorous though.
You can basically get these out of any city that has Qatar Airways. So New York is definitely going to be your cheapest and fastest. But if you're other major airports served by Qatar, this is even true of the West Coast. Like out of LA, we've been seeing these great fares. So you'll still see it other places. You might just want to reposition if you're normally flying out of a smaller airport.
Yeah, and definitely Qatar recently is adding San Francisco and Seattle in the future as well. So I will get to Cyprus. I will get that halloumi. It's going to happen.
The Seattle fares are actually for sale, but they're not in Google Flights yet. So if anyone's interested, they're a little pricey, but if you wanted to go to Doha, they're available.
All right. Perfect. Hopefully that answered your question. Moving back to what we were talking about before, 2021. I know a lot of people, we get a lot of questions about this all the time. When will it be safe to travel? When will you feel safe, or what will have to happen for you to personally travel? We'd love to get everyone's opinions, so please drop them in the chat, drop them in the comments, and we'd love to see your thoughts. But yeah, I'd love to kick it over to our flight experts. Darci, you want to kick us off? At what point will you be comfortable to travel? What needs to happen? Maybe time, vaccine. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see what happens. I do plan on, getting vaccinated. I think that I'm sort of waiting for that to be my cue and indication that I can travel safely. Obviously, my biggest concern is everyone else's safety. I mean, obviously, I prioritize my own safety as well, but I am concerned about, passing it on and accidentally. So I I'm waiting to travel until I'm vaccinated. Willis.
So, I mean, I feel pretty much the same. I've got a 4-month-old baby, so I'm wise to be cautious. That said, got to get out there because if I don't get out there soon, I'm going to lose my mind. So, yeah, obviously the vaccines are a great indicator. If you see large percentages of the population getting the vaccines and you feel as though we've kind of reached that critical mass, we can get going. I also think that if airlines and countries cooperate and start creating more rigorous testing, we may find that airplanes are the safest places in the world. If there's, I know they're now operating between New York and Italy, these COVID-free flights where people are tested before they get on and they're tested when they arrive in Rome. And there are models out there. So we'll see what airlines do. We'll see what countries do. And then the other thing is I'm not a sheep, but I trust the governments of the world. When the governments of the world say, hey, we're comfortable to open up all the borders, I say, hey, okay, I'm comfortable. If you feel like it's okay for me to come, I feel like it's okay for me to come.
All right, Daniel.
Yeah, I would echo most of that because for me, I don't really worry too much about flying with proper precautions right now. I do tend to agree with the airline studies that in general that is safe to do. So I think the big constraint for me is, does it seem like it's a ethical and wise and fun thing to do to go to a specific destination? And I think for me right now, not so much. I think next summer, probably, yeah, I'll probably book a lot of last minute travel. I would hope in June and July. That's my goal anyway. So I think that's the main thing. Yeah, watching out for the people I live with and watching out for the people around me. And then that's not to say I'm not doing a lot of planning for next year. I think that's the key, because there's a lot of really cool opportunities for, late 2021, especially if you're doing points and miles. There's a lot of open award seats everywhere. So there's a lot of cool things to look forward to and kind of prep for an aggressive latter half of the year.
Yeah, that's a perfect transition. There's a lot to look forward to. What 2021 trends do you all think will happen? Do you see happening now already? And to add on to that, is there anything that you're very excited about within 2021? I know that you guys all have a lot of great thoughts on this. So Willis, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think something that everyone should be excited about, if people are feeling comfortable traveling in the summertime, is that for the first time maybe ever, peak summer fares are cheap, they're affordable to go to places people want to go. So if you have a teacher in your family, if there's any reason why you have to travel in summertime, snatch them up now. It's really exciting that you really can go to these destinations for an affordable price. This may literally be the last time you have a chance to do this, to snatch a $400 ticket to Europe in peak summer. It's so rare, it's so hard. These things used to be, drop everything at our company, and now they come around all the time. And I expect that they'll continue to come around until demand picks up. So that's a really, really exciting, fun thing for all of us. I work remotely, I can travel whenever I want, but I still get excited about that. Yeah.
The thing that I'm really curious to see if this happens, but sort of a new focus, I guess, on slower travel or slow travel. So if folks are visiting one place and staying for a longer time rather than having to worry about, combining multiple countries, if there's different border requirements, vaccine requirements, etc. So I'm personally envisioning trips where I can combine countries, but it may not work out that way. It may be that I have to sort of pick one and stay there, and that's all right too. Just want to go travel.
Yeah, and I saw Daniel's ears perk up when I asked trends of 2021, what you're most excited about. So Daniel, hit us with it.
There's something really cool I want to tell people about, because it's not something we're likely to send to the newsletter because it's a little weird. But the spread between a full economy class ticket and the business class ticket in North America right now, so North America meaning like the US and Caribbean, even parts of Latin America, South America, is just phenomenally low. It's just insane because there's no business travel right now. So I keep looking at this, because flying out of Indianapolis, you can do like $600 business class fares down to places like Guatemala and Panama right now. Really interesting one-way business class fares as well, where you could book cash on the way out, miles on the way back. Like I was looking at this, to Bermuda from Indianapolis is $300 business class one way. Then you could do real cheap mileage ticket back. It's crazy. So that's really interesting. Like if this is actually kind of to Allison's point, like buying up from economy to business is only like $150 sometimes for these short haul itineraries. It's crazy. The other thing that's really cool is that it enhanced award availability. So if you have any Chase or Amex points or frequent flyer points saved up, it's amazing how wide open the field is for using that on things that would otherwise be very difficult late next year. Because something I wanted to do last year that I'm hoping to do now is book a around the world business class ticket with the ANA rewards program, which is pretty cheap. There's a lot of resources online about how to do this, but basically it'd be like a 12-stop business class itinerary where you circle the globe. So that's something I'm hoping to do like next November, next December, maybe a year from now. And it's just uniquely easy to do all of that right now. It costs less. The availability is there. You can get exactly the schedule and airplane and everything that you want. So I think you can afford to be very picky and fine-tune things in a way that maybe you couldn't normally if you wanted to get the best price or the most interesting experience. So I think that's really exciting.
Nice. All right. So for anyone just joining us, I am joined here with 3 of our amazing flight experts. We have Daniel, Willis, and Darci. I don't know how you guys are seeing it, so I'm just going to be pointing at random spots. And now we are going to be talking about what's a flight expert? What do you do? What do you like about your job? So if you guys have any questions about that, questions about flight experts, questions to the people who are sending the deals that you are receiving in your inboxes, these are them. So any questions you may have, please drop them in the comments. I'm going to start us off. I'm going to throw a softball question out here. What's your favorite part of the job? Darci, I'm going to start with you there.
I think my favorite part of the job is finding flights is a lot like solving a puzzle, and I'm a little bit of a puzzle nerd, and also escape rooms, all of that. So it essentially feels like I'm always just like searching for a buried treasure. So this, when you stumble upon something that's pretty incredible, that nobody else has seen yet, you feel pretty special, especially once it starts hitting, all of our members' inboxes. They're booking it. It's a really wonderful feeling.
You want to, pass
Daniel.
it off?
All right.
Daniel.
You know what I like in a different way of looking at that same thing is there's a very geographic angle to what we do. So for me, I really enjoy looking at maps. I love looking at airline schedules, itineraries. I love kind of getting the big spreadsheet and graphics of like physically where are these planes going? How can we take advantage of that and the visual nature of this, which I think is really fun. So it's neat for me to be able to pop open a map in a airline route table in the morning and say, well, here, let's pour through this and let's learn and see where the interesting points are that we should send out to people.
Willis.
I mean, I would agree with both of you. I think that the discovery is such a fun part of what we do day to day. That said, I'm an approval junkie. We keep a running tab of when you all write in and say you booked these deals. So if I write a deal up and I send it out, and these testimonials start coming in, and you say, I booked this, I'm going now, I'm going for my honeymoon, I'm going to propose to my girlfriend over here. It's all about romance too. It's got to be romance. No, but for anything, when I see people booking the flights, I get really, really excited. And then that's why I come in the next day. I have 3 espressos in the morning and I crank out some more deals for you, because I get so just amped up to see that everyone is involved, everyone's excited, everyone's making memories, everyone's having a good time. Especially now when things are hard and nobody's traveling. It's like, yes, a little bit of hope.
Yeah, I agree. I loved all of your answers equally. No, I have no favorites on that. Going to the next question, I'm going to take a stab at this first. What would people be surprised? What would people be surprised to learn about flight experts or flight searching or working at Scotchy Flights? And my answer for that will be, it was a little tougher to see it this year because our deals, I mean, for everyone watching that gets our deals, obviously in the top, we have deal text and we have deal copy. This is usually where the flight expert sending the deal would be able to type out, oh, hey, amazing fares to this place, any type of phrasing or text. And what I really love is being able to go back. If you really pay attention enough, you're able to kind of pick out and guess which flight expert wrote which deal. I could go back to a deal that was sent out in 2017, 2018, look at the wording and the phrasing and be like, it seems like Willis sent this deal out, or it seems like this is a Daniel deal. And I think a lot of people wouldn't expect deals to kind of have a little signature in it, even though we don't have, we don't write our names on the deal and we don't say exactly who found or who worked on what deal. So that's what I think people might find a little surprising. Daniel, how about you?
Well, speaking of the signature too, I think we all have our little destinations that we like. So sometimes we'll be kind of a partisan for a particular part of the world. So there's an element of us sending out deals that are aspirational to where we personally want to go, and we hope that you do too. So there's always going to be the Paris deals of the world, but then you're going to get something to Uzbekistan in your inbox someday, and you're like going to be Daniel sent that. I think maybe what I would say is surprising is there's a very extreme degree of pattern recognition in what we do. So I think what's really interesting is it's very rare that we'll find a deal that's totally unprecedented in terms of how it's constructed and what it includes. So if we see like, there's a particular route on a particular airline, we kind of already know what the next 15 routes in that deal are going to be. So it's often like you can see patterns of a certain type of European deal, a certain type of South America deal, a certain type of Canada deal that it's like, okay, we've sent this before. We kind of know who belongs. Like we know what this is going to look like, and we can assemble it very quickly based on intuition or from that little small incomplete piece that we've discovered of it.
Yeah.
I can piggyback off of that too, because the pattern recognition, I think, goes to the fact that what we do is super manual. Like, yes, we have a great team here who's helping us technology-wise, but what we do day to day when it comes down to it is like, it's super manual. And we have all this knowledge in our heads. And we're trying to record it. We're trying to make systems to make it more efficient every day. But what it comes down to is that we understand what to look for and how to look for it. And we spend a lot of time learning these patterns and spend a lot of time digging into them. And then we go and we hit the Google Flights Explorer map and we cross our fingers that these things we expect to be there might be there. Or these things we say, hey, it's been a month or two since this came up. Maybe it'll be there now. And we poke in, we check it out, and it's a lot of intuition. It's a lot of poking around. It's a whole lot of touch and go. But it's a very strange job, but it's a very cool job, and we're lucky to do it.
I think that's definitely one of the biggest takeaways. Is I think people assume that flight experts are on Google Flights or searching a lot, but might not understand just how much flight experts are on Google Maps Explorer, and using a lot of these tools that kind of everyone uses just to see what's out there, because we're always searching, we're always trying to find the best deals out there. So yes, I definitely agree with that one. Darci, how about you?
I think where my brain immediately went to is I think a lot of people assume that we've been on every plane in existence, so we can confidently write about it and know about it. But there are folks on the team like myself. I'm not afraid to admit this, but I've never been on JetBlue. I've never been on Southwest. And so it's always pretty interesting to really understand. I know, I can feel the judgment right now. Maybe I shouldn't say that on Facebook Live. But to really understand, what the content is, what the deals that we're delivering, you don't necessarily have to have experienced them yourself, as long as you do your research, and you listen to your members, you listen to your coworkers, you read the news.
Yeah. Let's do one more question from the comments, and then let's finish it off with tips and tricks, because the best flight experts out there, I'm sure that you guys definitely have a lot of tips and tricks out there. So the question is from Ashley Laboda. That's an interesting. Is that actually? That's a good question. Is it Laboda? Laboda?
Julian, that's my wife, right?
I do know that. She asks, "What is each flight expert's favorite name to use?" So we'll start with Willis.
Wow, it's such an insightful question for such an intelligent. She has a PhD.
I do know. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do I start on this? Favorite emoji to use? At first I loved the little cartwheel guy because it expresses how I feel all the time. Like I'm cartwheeling. But then I noticed on some platforms he's more gymnastic-y and doing like a split, and so I shied away from that after a bit. The Italian hand is wonderful, although the usage is limited. It's a new one. It's a new edition. It's very fun. I enjoy that. But for us, I think I like the cherry blossom emoji. When we're talking on Slack and we're talking to each other and we put a cherry blossom, that means something we've decided, something we've seen is really super exciting, and we're going to get it out to our members. So cherry blossom makes me excited all the time. Also Italian hand.
All right. I'm going to take Ashley's comment away just so we don't block Darcy's face. Darcy, what is your favorite emoji to use?
This feels like a cop-out, but I don't have a favorite emoji. But I will tell you, I have a favorite emoji preference, and that is the photo on the deal should match the emoji. I am the person on the team that gets really weird about that. But when it does, that's just chef's kiss to me. I like that harmony. So.
All right, Daniel.
Yeah, I'll divide it up. There's deal emojis and then Slack emojis. For the actual headline, the emoji there, I love the range of city emojis. So like there's city at night, city at dawn, city at dusk, city in the fog. All of those are my favorite. So I try to kind of have a mental image of each of these places, especially for our domestic US deals, which are often to big hubs. And then in Slack, I'm a big fan of slightly non sequitur food emojis. So like I love the waving grain of rice emoji is one of my favorites. Is kind of just I acknowledge this.
Yeah,
that is what you do too. I love that.
I have seen that multiple times. I mean, I've got to say it. I use the 100 emoji, so that has to be it, or the fire emoji. Those are both emojis that I use a lot just in regular everyday life. But also, if you see that emoji on a deal, that means that it's going to be a really good deal. All of our deals are great, but those specifically probably have some factor that makes it even more amazing, whether it be a peak summer deal or mistake fair or something. So there you go. All right, let's great question from a quality member right there. And finally, let's finish it off with tips and tricks. But before we go into that, one last reminder that we have gift cards. We have launched them recently, and today we are doing a giveaway of our gift cards. So feel free to go to our Twitter page, our Instagram page, and our Facebook page for more information about our giveaway that ends today. So definitely go check that out. We are also doing a buy one, get one free gift card promotion. So definitely check that out too. It's a great last minute Christmas gift. I haven't done any of my Christmas shopping yet, so it could be a great last minute idea for you. And it doesn't require shipping. I think that's the best part of it. So definitely go check that out. All right, professional flight experts. We got some of the best with us here. What are some tips and tricks to finding deals, knowing it's a good deal? Anything on your mind, let the audience know. Daniel, you want to hit us first?
One of my favorite things, and sometimes this will be marked in a deal, but often it's not. Almost everything can be booked as an open jaw flight these days. It's really easy if you want to combine, two different destinations. You can fly out from the same origin, come back from a different city. That's super easy to do. You might have to play around with the dates a little bit to make it work, but I think that's something that a lot of people overlook, and we get questions about that, like how can I visit two cities on one ticket? And it's actually relatively easy to do that. That's my big one. I think the other thing that I find really helpful, I spend a lot of time tracking what routes are new. So when finding out when the booking window for a new flight opens, like that Seattle to Doha, for example, that we talked about earlier. Sometimes there's a really cool sweet spot of promotional fares when something is just come on the market and it may never reach that crazy good price again. I'm thinking about, for example, I have high hopes for the JetBlue East Coast to London Mint fares that are probably going to go on sale like Q3 next year, something like that. Sometimes when there's a really cool, unique route and it's new, they'll do a great promo sale. It'll be there for just a couple of days, and then you'll never see that price again. So I love looking and kind of picking up on that kind of thing. All
right. Willis, you look like you've got something up your sleeve.
You always think that, don't you? I also love open jaw flights. I feel like these days, book a flight to Europe that's not open jaw because it seems silly, because it's so easy to get around. Like, why wouldn't you do it? But something that I think that most people just don't realize is being flexible with your dates can make such a big difference. And I'm not talking like, oh, you wanted to fly in July, now you have to fly in February. Although that helps. But I'm saying day of the week. So if you go into Google or you go into Kayak or whatever service you like to use, and you set a reminder and say, hey, I want to fly from July 6th until July 14th, the chances that price drops for those exact dates is so low. But if you're willing to open up the calendar and explore a little bit, mess with the length of your trip a little bit, sometimes we're looking for deals and we'll think nothing's there. And then you open up the trip length from 7 days to 8 days and you see the calendar explodes and all of a sudden everything is cheap. Everything looks great. It takes a little bit of finagling. When I help friends and family find flights all the time, it's the same thing. And we're looking at the exact same screen, but we're just looking at it slightly differently. It's just having that flexibility and saying, hey, are you willing to spend one extra day this place you want to go? You should be. If you're willing to do it, if you can swing it, it's going to be worth it. Right. Or are you willing to go, take one more day of PTO and fly on Thursday instead of Friday because it might work out for you. It's a really simple tip and trick, but I think it really makes a huge difference in finding cheap flights.
Darci.
My number one tip, and I will talk about this until I'm blue in the face, is repositioning. It is the single most effective tool, I think, in a member's toolbox. If there is somewhere that you're trying to go, all of us, immediately think, oh, I'm going to go to Expedia. I'm going to go Google Flights. I'm going to put in where it's my airport, where am I going to, and that's it. I'm going to pay the price that it shows. Look at other major airports in the United States that you can get to quite easily, or alternatively, get across the ocean as cheap as you can. So, if I'm waiting to go, if I want to go to Rome to hang out with Willis there, I may wait longer than I, am willing to or want to, waiting for that deal out of Seattle. But maybe there's a sweet nonstop that comes through from Seattle to Amsterdam. I'm booking it. I'm buying a second flight from Amsterdam to Rome.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for stealing my tip there, Darci. So with my tip stolen, I'll say, especially domestically, check Southwest for someone who doesn't like baggage fees, and I feel like that's a lot of people. If Southwest flies that route, it's always good to check what the pricing there is. If you're going to check a bag, maybe the Southwest price will actually cost you less than other carriers. So definitely check Southwest. But thank you everyone for watching and joining us in the comments. We all really appreciate you. Thank you, Darci. Thank you, Willis. Thank you, Daniel, for hopping on and for, finding these deals, sending the deals so that we're sending the best of the best out there and people are constantly getting deals in their inbox. So I wanted to say I appreciate all of you guys very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will this is the last Facebook Live of 2020. Scott and I will join you and restart our weekly Facebook Lives in the beginning of January. So we will see you then. But until then, thank you all very much. And I hope everyone has an amazing holiday season. Thanks, everyone.